Well, if thousands of refugees are living in the Calais jungle, thousands more are crowded into a kind of no man's land on the border of Syria and Jordan. Some 1.3 million people have been given a home in Jordan, and refugees now account for 20% of the population there. But the country's really struggling to give them the help they need. Earlier, I spoke exclusively to Queen Rania of Jordan, who is herself from a family of refugees. She began by telling me about the enormous pressure the refugee crisis was putting on her country.
90% of those refugees live in our towns and villages. They're not in the camps. And this has put a tremendous pressure on our economy, on our infrastructure, both social and physical. And sometimes I think Jordan gets, there's a misconception, we get lumped in with some of the rich countries in the Gulf. But Jordan is not an oil-producing country. And we were in a difficult financial situation even before the refugees.
So has the West stepped up to the plate?
Like I said, financially, there has been some support and we're very appreciative, but the needs far outpace and outweigh the support.
So you're from a family of refugees yourself. How does it strike you that the UK has so far given a home to 1,000 Syrian refugees and is pledged to take in 20,000 over 5 years? How do those numbers strike you?
Well, the UK has been one of the biggest donors for the refugee crisis. And as you know, maybe you heard that next month the UK is co-hosting the Donors Conference for Refugees. And I know that the Prime Minister has been particularly supportive. And I'm very appreciative of the concern and compassion that the British public has shown toward this crisis.
Except the refugees have been subject to racist attacks in Middlesbrough, for example.
I think you're going to have that in small pockets, but that doesn't represent the majority. But of course, some people are acting out of fear. So it's quite rational to have that fear, but it's never good to act out of fear.
Well, there are now, I think, somewhere between 12,000 and 16,000 refugees camped in a kind of no man's land on the Syria-Jordan border. I know you're limiting how many are allowed in because you say there are security concerns. There's also humanitarian concerns, aren't there? Some reports that some of those refugees have died. I just wonder what you're doing about that.
We're doing our best to provide the services that they need. That said, they come from areas that have a lot of the Daesh and other extremists. So we're worried that some of these populations have been infiltrated. And I think the number one concern for Jordan is the safety and stability and security of our country.
What's your answer to the fact that a lot of the men who are coming in as refugees, maybe not a lot, but some, have come from countries where women are oppressed or worse? How do you deal with that issue of integration?
Firstly, what happened in Cologne is totally unacceptable. It's reprehensible and there's just no excusing it. The German leadership and people have shown such courage and compassion in dealing with the refugees, and that was not a way to repay them. And it's just an example of, this is a complex issue. There are people coming from different cultures, but it just needs to be made clear that you need to respect the law of the land that you're in.
Clearly, this refugee crisis that we've been talking about is sparked by the terrible and long-running Syrian conflict. You at one point, I think, used to move in the same circles as Asma al-Assad, the Syrian president's wife. Do you have any contact with her now?
Absolutely not. No, I haven't been in touch with her.
What would you say to Asma if you were sitting having a cup of tea with her now?
I have no idea what she's thinking and what she's going through, so I can't really judge what I would say to her.
Do you feel sad, though, that
I feel sad. I feel sad for the people of Syria. That's what makes me sad.
Your Majesty, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.